The way that most people try to learn improvisation is wrong. Most people think it's about being creative, being able to come up with things, to invent new ideas, to just be able to know which chords to play sort of magically. But actually it's really different. So I would love to change your mind on what improvisation is and how you can approach improvisation as a beginner. So I want you to think of music in improvisation as a language. So listen to the words I'm saying right now. Now I have a plan for what I want to get across, and I sort of know what I'm going to say, but not all the words are planned out. So I don't have it scripted word for word, and I'm also not inventing new words. So in that sense, I'm improvising, but I'm also not inventing like the wheel from scratch. So I'm telling you something, and I'm using words that I already know to build my sentences. And in improvisation on the piano, it's the same thing. So when we try to improvise on the piano, we think about creating words, sentences from our musical alphabet. And of course, we have the notes on the piano. That's sort of our alphabet. Of course, there's the black keys. And now we have 12 keys to choose from. Now, how do you build words? How do you build sentences? Well, it's quite simple. Now let's, for example, pick 4 notes, maybe these 4 notes. Now, in what ways can you combine them to form a word? Now, if you have a certain number of letters, you can, of course, rearrange them in different words. So let's just try that. For example, we can do... That could be something you use, like maybe this. Could also be a word. And for example, if you add a chord, and now it starts to sound like language. So in music, we try to achieve the same thing. We want the listener to feel something when we improvise. So the worst thing I can hear is like if someone's improvising and they're just playing scales up and down, like look at all the notes I can play. And I believe that improvisation is not about that. Improvisation is about how can you come up with ideas from the things you know, of course, and how can you make me as the listener actually feel something. So I want you to tell me a story that I can follow. And if there's no story, if it's just like a random string of letters together, then like why should I listen to that? There's really nothing to listen for. So let's go to the key of F sharp major. Now I want you to use the following 4 notes and try to come up with words and improvise over the backing track that I'm going to provide. So let's use the notes F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and C sharp. And as with the example from before, you can just combine them in whatever way. Now, one more thing is when you start to improvise now, know that words have a fixed length and it's most often shorter than you might think. So if you start and improvise, now, again, this is the long string of words, of letters that I was talking about, which is really unpleasant and like meaningless to listen to. So when you play something like a word and you've played like 5, 6, 7 notes, then just stop. And now you've played one word. Now take a short break, take a breath, and then play the next word. So enough said. Now I'm going to play a short backing track for you, and you can use these 4 notes to improvise and try to form an idea, try to form words, and yeah, just improvise using this technique. Let's play together. So you can tell me in the comments how it went. Were you able to do what we set out to do? Now, when you play along with this backing track, maybe for another time, try to change something. Try to maybe change the length of the words, try to find new ways to combine them, try to increase the rests in between the words you play. Maybe you can also do something like repeat an idea you just had and try to sort of alter it in a slight way. For example, like, and that's really the moment when your improvisation starts to become a story. And I, as the listener, will actually start to want to listen to you, to follow along and actually feel something when you're playing. Now, remember from this video that music is conversation, music is language, especially so in improvisation. And yeah, take your time and explore this language of music and try to figure out a way in which you can communicate using these tools. Now, if this video was helpful to you and you want to learn more about chords, how to play them, how to combine them in progressions using patterns and all of that stuff, I recommend you watch all of my free courses I made on that. It's the first link in the video description or in the pinned comment. You should check those out if you want more free content and like full-on courses on how to do all of this. Now, I'll see you guys again in the next lesson.